Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no. Oh, good evening. It is a beautiful night out there tonight. That's why I'm wearing camo, because after I finish filming the show for you guys, I have to crash through my window and take on an approaching zombie horde that could happen at any given moment. I do apologize if you are screaming and glass breaking in the background, but one can never be too prepared for a zombie apocalypse. That's why I took the liberty of finding a house literally 5 minutes away from a soda plantation and a chemical plant. Because after I saw the first Zombies movie back in 2018, I had never felt so inspired. So I immediately took to real estate online. I found this house and I've been here ever since. They told me it was haunted, but I moved in and I've never left. Because I feel right at home. There's no greater feeling than having an appreciation for Zombies and Descendants videos on YouTube when you know you live 5 minutes away from a soda plantation and a chemical plant that could explode at any given moment. I also want to apologize if you hear any explosions in the background, because it could happen when you least expect it. One can never be too prepared for a zombie apocalypse, because one should never believe anything they see or read online. I've never ever trusted the internet. All you should ever trust is your heart, because your heart is your best friend, and it led you to Descendants of Zombies, and made you the biggest fan in the world of a franchise that captivated millions of people. That's what I give the writers and producers a profound amount of credit for and respect for that needs to be shown to them, because they really brought a franchise to life, more so than any other franchise that Disney had created and promoted over the last at least 25 years. And that's coming from a guy who was a part of every aspect of the Disney Channel revolution when they moved out of traditional animation and into shows like Hannah Montana and Wizards of Waverly Place and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and Lizzie McGuire. Actually, come to think of it, today I saw a retrospective rewind look at Hilary Duff's career and the metamorphosis of what Hilary Duff eventually became, one of the greatest teen idols of all time. I say this because the same 4 or 5 people are always in the conversation of who really is the greatest of all time. Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Sabrina Carpenter. I am so tired of hearing about Sabrina Carpenter and the suggestion of her playing Rapunzel in Disney's live-action Tangled, because I will forever support Ruby Rose Turner and fall in love with Ruby if she portrays Rapunzel and brings her to life for Disney's live-action Tangled, because if there ever was somebody deserving of that role, because of how much of a passion she has exemplified for wanting to be Rapunzel in the live-action Tangled, and actually just want to play Rapunzel in general, it would have to be Ruby Rose Turner. My heart goes out to Ruby Rose Turner, and I want Ruby to know that if I do die at the hands of a zombie apocalypse tonight before tomorrow morning and the sun comes up, Ruby, I love you so much, man, and you deserve more of an opportunity. You need to be given more of a chance so that you can really shine. Your voice was beautiful on that song, Life is Sweeter When You Are. It was the best song of the 8 songs that were on the soundtrack of The Rise of Red. It's a song I can never get out of my head, and I've literally listened to it 10 million times. If the music video has been watched 50 million times, 10 million of those views came from Jonathan Clarke, because Ruby Rose Turner touched my heart, and has forever and always held a special place in my heart. And Ruby, I just want you to know that whatever happens to me out there tonight, I love you, man. And the thing is, I know there's not supposed to be a full moon until October 6th, so I don't have to worry about werewolves tonight, but I do have silver bullets on hand, so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take on the world. And come to think of it, I think like Zed does, because I think he would have really took on the world for Addison. Their relationship in Zombies was a relationship that I really thought was promoted in a very effective way, because it made people believe that love actually could exist and happen for them even when they least expect it. And that's what the beautiful thing about love is. When it least expects you, it has a way of creeping up from behind you. They bumped into each other in a zombie safe zone after a zombie drill had backfired on the school. Come to think of it, those zombie drills look really fun. It kind of made me think of one time when I was in high school and our fire drill went off, and there was a big fire in the back of our school because we had a school actually that was in front of a forest, and there was a big fire explosion. Brought back fond memories. But those zombie drills look really, really cool. I would love to partake in one of those. I would have loved to have been there. You know, seeing the setup for the choreographing of that scene when they were doing the zombie drill. I would have loved to have been the principal of the school or the school teacher, because my mom had taught school for over 25 years and gave 30 years of her life to the teaching system, trying to instill education in the minds of so many young people. I would have kind of followed in her footsteps and been the teacher and said, "Zombified, everybody, let's do a zombie drill." I would have loved to have been part of that zombie drill. Come to think of it, I would have loved to have been Shrimpy on stage for the Worlds Collide tour. This is what I'm talking about. Descendants of Zombies offered us the opportunity to really explore our inner emotions, really experience our inner child all over again. And that's why I really feel like more people should wear camo shirts on YouTube videos for you guys and really make you believe that the chances of a zombie apocalypse has ever been more apparent than it is now. Because I really do believe that a zombie apocalypse could really happen at any given moment. I've been also doing some research about this interesting alien probe that is on the way to Earth to kill us all in less than 100 days. One can never be too prepared or never be too sure that aliens do exist out there, because in all honesty, I really believe that we are not the only living, breathing organisms in this lifetime. We are not the only species. And we can never be too prepared. You know, if Alf can show up from planet Malmac and land on planet Earth and have a TV series that lasted for 2 seasons from 1987 to 1990, I mean, anything can happen. One can never be too prepared. But I really did love the story of zombies in all seriousness, guys. It was a beautiful story that really brought things into perspective for me. I was always a fan of shows like Supernatural, The Vampire Diaries, True Blood, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Everything that a kid could have ever been a fan of. From Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to Are You Afraid of the Dark to Goosebumps to True Blood to Vampire Diaries to the Twilight Saga. I read the books. I saw the movies. I had a greater appreciation for everything that touched your heart in so many unbelievable and so many unique ways. I remember the vampire werewolf trend from at least 2008 up until 2013, and how everybody was crazy about vampires and werewolves and that never-ending battle over who was going to fall in love with Edward Cullen's true love, of course, Bella Swan, between, of course, Edward and Jacob. I remember all that conflict. I remember being caught up within all of that, and I felt really immersed by it, and I had a greater appreciation for that kind of stuff. I also had a very greater appreciation for the Vampire Diaries twist on how vampires had to have special rings to go out in the daylight, and, of course, all the conflict that ascended from, of course, Stefan Salvatore's love interest, Elena, and, of course, how Damon got the better of him in that, and then, of course, he eventually fell in love with Caroline, of course, Caroline Forbes. I remember that wedding. I remember them having kids, living happily ever after before he sacrificed himself for the greater good. I really do love this stuff, and I really do love talking about it. I can talk about fairy tales for forever. I can talk about vampire TV shows for forever. I do it with a passion, which is why when the opportunity presented itself to host this show for you guys, I took full advantage of it, because I realized that nobody else was ever going to host a Descendants or Zombies themed podcast on YouTube for you guys. You know, if Marvel.com can finance a Marvel podcast for $5.2 million on Marvel.com every Wednesday and upload it to that website, Disney.com or D23.com can finance a Descendants or Zombies podcast. I'll host the show for you guys. But I guess they've left that responsibility up to me, because they know everybody is subscribing to this YouTube channel. The cool thing about this YouTube channel is this YouTube channel always has something new for everybody who is a fan of Descendants of Zombies. And if you want reviews of the Worlds Collide Tour, you will find them here. If you want reviews of your favorite moments from the Zombies franchise, you will find them here. If you want reviews of Descendants and Zombies, you will find them here. I discuss everything Descendants and Zombies. I profile your favorite characters. I show them the respect they deserve, because I really do love Kylie Cantrell. And I think her tears are really being wasted on emotional moments that she doesn't need to be wasting her tears on. If anything, Kylie needs to be focusing on her and her career and doing what she loves, and that's entertaining each and every one of you. And I'm here to ensure that her legacy will go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. That's all I've ever wanted to do, is to ensure that the legacies of your favorite Descendants stars, past and present, will go down in history for being some of the greatest of all time. Because when I think about it, that's all I've ever wanted to go down in history for having been, is the greatest of all time. And you guys will ensure that by subscribing to this YouTube channel. I know I post a lot of crazy, funny videos on times where I'm wearing a camouflage t-shirt ready to jump through my window to take on a zombie horde, but that's where all the years of playing video games like Days Gone, Resident Evil, The Last of Us come into play, because I'm ready to go. I'm more fired up than I ever had been before, which was actually a really good song off the Zombie soundtrack. Of course, putting the implication on, you know, how a dream can happen for anybody, even if it is joining the cheer squad. Perhaps you're thinking about joining the cheerleading squad this year for your high school. I say go for it. I say that because time is of essence, and time is the most precious commodity. Why? Because time always runs out. If you've ever wanted to tell somebody that you love them, I think you should before time runs out. Because as I just said, time is of the essence, because it never fails to run out. And we're only allotted so much time in this lifetime. What would we do if we had more time? Would we go back in time regardless of the consequences of our actions and tell more people that we love them and spend more time with the people we love? Would we fix some of our mistakes? That's a question I've often asked myself time and time again. I've caught myself asking myself that question every night before I fall asleep. But I'm so grateful for the honor of having the honor of hosting the show for each and every one of you and talking about quality control the way that I've talked about quality control, because I have seen some reviews of your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars, and they aren't good. They have left me very disappointed for being a fan of Descendants and Zombies, because I really do believe the fans of Descendants and Zombies have deserved better. So that's why I created this show. I had posted many podcasts over the years, but I have never had the honor of hosting a show where I felt more fulfilled than talking about a franchise that means so much to so many millions of people. It's not just thousands of people who came out to the Worlds Collide Tour out of support of a franchise they love because they love the music and they love the story. It was a passion that became a way of life for many people. It became about Descendants, Zombies, or Die, and it's something that they've held on to for forever and always, which is something that I give you guys a profound amount of credit for. It really does mean so much to me when I see people having fun because of Descendants and Zombies, being lost in a moment that they will forever and always remember and never ever forget. Because you can't tell me that this was a moment that you're never ever going to forget. When you guys are 25 and you've grown out of your childhood, being at the Worlds Collide Tour is going to be something that's going to stay with you for forever and always, and that's exactly what I wanted to have happen for you guys. I wanted to outshine the criticism the Worlds Collide Tour received. Everything from the merch quality and the quality of the hoodies and the sweatshirts and the t-shirts and the posters were criticized, to the ticket prices. I mean, I don't really care that the ticket prices started at over $200 because it was $200 well spent. Because you created a moment for your child. You gave them an opportunity to make the most of that opportunity, and they really ran with it. And you guys ran away with every dream becoming a reality for you guys, because that was your one dream, to be a part of Descendants and Zombies, and at least for one night, you felt like it. So everybody that made that possible for you, I just want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you for each and every one of you for making this summer for me one of the greatest summers of my life, because I had the honor to create hundreds of videos on Descendants and Zombies, which is something I look forward for doing for the foreseeable future, regardless if I die at the hands of a zombie apocalypse or not, because one can never be too sure or too prepared of who actually is a zombie out there. I've seen how guys act these days, and it's not really good when a guy doesn't pay any attention to your text message or pay any attention to what you're talking about or notice anything special about you. See, that's where guys are real idiots, because I really do believe that girls really know what they want. And girls represent kindness in this world, because all a girl's ever wanted is to make the people in her life happy. And the quicker and the sooner a guy realizes that, I think relationships will work out more for the better. And that's really what Descendants and Zombies was about prioritizing each other and putting each other before everything else in your life. Regardless of joining the football team or the cheerleading squad meant so much to you, you would put that aside and sacrifice everything in your life just to spend your life out with the one person that you thought you could have a chance of actually having that happen with. And the thing about Zombies Swore Down to the Vampires was there was no conflict. There was no conflict within relationships. We saw it leading up to that climax in Zombies Swore Down to the Vampires right before Zed was going to zombie out when he said, "Addison, I love you." And those were his final words before he was brought back to reality because of how Addison felt about him and how she wanted to help him out of that situation and that predicament more than anything else in the world, setting up for the passing of the torch moment to Victor and Nova's characters, who are going to do a fabulous job carrying on the lineage and the legacy of the Zombies franchise, because this really is a legacy. You know, you can talk about Hannah Montana all you want, but did Hannah Montana really leave behind a legacy? I'm in doubt of that, because you take the music out of Hannah Montana, what do you have? Do you really have a story to fall back on? Probably emotional moments between herself and her dad, which was never originally planned for the Hannah Montana TV series. The producers just noticed chemistry between Molly and her dad and said it would be cool to have her real-life dad be a part of the show, and that's what happened. Emily Osment and Miley Cyrus never had chemistry from the very first moment they stepped into the set of Hannah Montana. They hated each other's guts. And now years later we have a franchise that's receiving criticism. Why? Because of beautiful friendships that are real-life scenarios, because they help each other, they're there for every single moment of each other's lives. I think that we really need to back off these stars, and we need to present more of an opportunity for them to shine. And that's what I like to do in these videos. I like to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I love to give them more of a chance than they've ever been given before, because I know there is somebody writing a column right now to upload about Descendants and Zombies with their honest opinion about the Worlds Collide Tour, which you guys aren't going to make much sense of. You're never really going to understand how they feel about the Worlds Collide Tour or why they feel about the Worlds Collide Tour. So at least you will forever and always have me. Because I give you my word, I will dedicate the rest of my life, even if that's what I have to do, to uploading Descendants and Zombies videos for you every night of my life for the rest of my life, because I really do love these franchises. Even though they were just 90-minute productions, the first Zombies movie wasn't even an hour and a half. But even though the first Zombies movie was never an hour and a half, it was a beautiful movie, and it was a setup for a franchise that would become a global phenomenon and touch the hearts of millions of people and millions of families who have been a part of this from the very beginning. I wish I could have been a part of this from the very beginning, but I wasn't uploading videos, but I was watching from afar, and when the opportunity finally was shown to me, I took full advantage of it because I wanted my voice to be heard in front of a global audience like never before. I didn't know how my videos were going to be received, what the response was going to be like, and the first video I uploaded about Dove Cameron a year and a half ago got over 1,000 views. I said, you got to be freaking kidding me. So I uploaded another Dove Cameron video, another Descendants or Zombies video here or there, and this YouTube channel morphed into what it became. It evolved into something spectacular, something that started as a whisper, became a global phenomenon, and touched the hearts of millions of people just like you. So if you're somebody thinking about subscribing to this YouTube channel, I think you should, because I have a passion for fairy tales. I've studied them for years. I have a greater appreciation for Alice in Wonderland, Cinderella, which is why when I saw these characters brought to life for the Descendants franchise for the first time after a 5-year hiatus, when I thought nothing was ever going to be done with the Descendants franchise ever again, I was so excited about it. I never felt so honored to talk about Alice in Wonderland after being a fan of it ever since I was 5 years old. And I used to watch Cinderella in front of a TV with a bowl of chicken noodle soup when I would have the chicken pox or the stomach bug. And I would love that movie. I would love to see how the mice would help Cinderella get to the ball and live out her dream of finding Prince Charming and falling in love for eternity. Because I really do believe a dream is a wish that starts with your heart. And if you trust in your heart, every dream that you have can become a reality. And that's what the mice and Cinderella's relationship taught me in the Cinderella movie over 35 years ago. My mom used to run a movie store years ago, and one of my favorite movies I used to always rent from her was Cinderella. I know it's a real cute story, but I used to save up all my change in my piggy bank, and every weekend I would give my mom money to watch Cinderella. God, I'm going to cry before the end of this movie. I really do love this kind of thing. I really do love talking about it. I have never done it with such passion before in my life, because a lot of stuff I was talking about on the radio many years ago, before I came on YouTube, wasn't making a whole lot of sense to a whole lot of people, because I had this never-dying passion for Descendants and Zombies that would never ever leave me. And because it never ever left me, I wanted to share it with a global audience that shared in that same passion, who loved it more than anything else in their life. And I had that honor because of Descendants and Zombies fans. So I wanted to create a show that would touch each and every one of your hearts. I didn't know how many hearts I was going to touch, but I know from the response this YouTube channel has received because of its subscriber count and its views going up all the time, it's touching thousands of hearts. And I have never felt so honored to be in your guys' presence, talking about Descendants and Zombies. It's really hard for me to believe that I've been talking about it already for over 20 minutes. This really has been the greatest honor of my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Come to think of it, if I was in possession of a pocket watch, I think I would go back in time and relive falling in love with Descendants and Zombies and discovering its power all over again, because it will give me the opportunity to meet each and every one of you all over again. I know it only happens once in a lifetime, but we've really got to make that one lifetime that we're given really count. And I think that each and every one of you have felt more inspired than ever before because of Descendants and Zombies, which is why I feel as if never enough good things can be said about a franchise that has touched millions of hearts and really captivated a global audience in a way that Hannah Montana and High School Musical may have thought they did. But the question is, did they really? Did they leave behind a legacy like Descendants and Zombies is meant to leave behind and carve? I really don't know. I have my doubts. Because if you take the music out of Hannah Montana, if you take the music away from High School Musical, is it really as powerful of a message coming from those franchises? I really don't know. Did Hannah Montana ever do as many concert dates as Descendants and Zombies did this past summer? I don't think so. With the exception of the Worlds Collide tour years ago for Best of Both Worlds and Hannah Montana, the Jonas Brothers, I really don't think that they outperformed the Descendants Zombies Worlds Collide tour. Nothing has ever outperformed it, no matter what stage production you're talking about. As revered as The Lion King may have been many years ago for Disney, I don't think that anything has ever come close to Descendants of Zombies for the profound impact it's had on everybody's heart. And I will say more about this tomorrow morning on the first video I will upload, which you're more than welcome to subscribe to and join me for, because I do have something up here every day for somebody who's a fan of Descendants of Zombies. I like to pride myself on creating beautiful videos about Descendants of Zombies because I really do feel as if never enough good things can be said about a franchise that has captivated millions of people from all walks of life. I really do feel as if people are really trying to tear down the credibility that the cast members and the crew members have tried to build up for Descendants of Zombies, and it's been happening for far long enough now, and all I've ever wanted to do was kind of, restore that credibility to a franchise that has meant so much to so many wonderful people. Because you can't tell me that the Descendants of Zombies Worlds Collide Tour didn't touch your heart, regardless of the ticket prices, the quality of the merch. It was a moment in time that you wanted to last for forever. And when you think about it, moments like this don't happen very often. So I think that the more of an opportunity we make of this, and we make last for forever and always, and enjoy, it's really the greatest honor of my life to be able to do this. And I really can, if you're asking me, I really can see myself creating videos about Descendants of Zombies for the rest of my life, and talking about fairy tale characters, because I really do think these fairy tale characters are often very revered, but often more times than given credit for, very underappreciated and overshadowed by everything happening in a company as big as Disney. Because the reality of it is, Disney is so huge, and they have so many things going on that often sometimes characters are forgotten about, and have a risk of fading off into obscurity. But because of people like me, their legacies will live on for forever and always and eternally in all of our hearts. I was the biggest fan of Cinderella. I was the biggest fan of Alice in Wonderland. So when I heard news of characters from Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella finding their way into the Descendants franchise and becoming a part of it, I was really excited. I was more excited about that than I was about anything going on in my own life, because I was going to have the chance to talk about Kylie Cantrell, whom I was a huge fan of ever since her days on a show called Berserk and Raven's Home, which she just had reoccurring appearances. She wasn't a part of every episode, but the episodes she was a part of were absolutely miraculous and were brought to life because of Kylie Cantrell's contributions. And it wasn't long after that that Kylie Cantrell was put on a show called Gabby Dern and the Unsittables. It was the greatest honor of my life profiling Kylie Cantrell's career at a young age, because I knew she was going to be something special for everybody who ever was a fan of Kylie Cantrell. And I really do believe that Kylie Cantrell has deserved far more credit than she's ever been given. And I just wanted to be that guy to show Kylie Cantrell that respect that she deserves. And you can help me with that by subscribing to this YouTube channel. I'm not asking you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's just a suggestion. I would love for you to be a part of this, because I know that you are a fan of Descendants of Zombies. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video and should be supporting this guy who's about to jump through his window and take on a zombie horde that he could die at the hands of. The thing is, I really do try to bring this to life. I try to make it an immersive experience that you can become lost in, and you can really run away appreciating, because I really feel as if a lot of people on YouTube really don't follow through with their guarantee of uploading videos about Descendants of Zombies, because the majority of it is just AI, and it's a bunch of nonsense. I've seen so many AI videos collaborated for Descendants of Zombies fans, and a 5 to 12 minute long video really isn't offering you the quality or the presentation or showcasing the value of what a franchise has meant to somebody's heart. Because the reality we're faced with every day that we wake up and open our eyes, from the very first moment we open up our eyes, we're listening to a Descendants song on our iPad, or we're listening to a Descendants song on our phone in the car. That's the reality of life. Chillin' Like a Villain has become the #1 song on everybody's playlist. I mean, everybody loves that Uma song. It's the catchiest song ever. I was never the biggest fan of China Anne McClain, but I had a greater appreciation for her and her acting as an actress after that song Uma was remixed for The Rise of Red. It was a beautiful representation of every character that Disney had ever created, and what a character really wants to amount to become so revered. And I really do believe these characters, regardless of how much criticism they have been victims of, will become some of the greatest of all time and be honored on the D23 Expo stage many years from now. When it's going to happen, I don't know. But that's what I'm here to solidify and ensure, is that your favorite stars go down in history for being some of the greatest of all time. Now, if you will excuse me, I have to jump through my window and take on thousands of zombies and protect all of you while you sleep. But while you sleep, before you go to sleep, can you please hit my subscribe button? Because I don't know if I'm going to make it to sunrise. But if I do, I will return tomorrow morning with a new video about Descendants of Zombies for each and every single person who's ever been a fan of Descendants of Zombies and couldn't be more proud to say they were a fan of Descendants of Zombies, because I'm just like each and every one of you. I am a fan of Descendants of Zombies. And yes, I know that's a Mickey Mouse coffee mug, but I love drinking tea in the nighttime because it really helps settle my mind before I'm about to take on thousands of zombies that are at hand. The zombie apocalypse is at hand, and it could happen at any given moment. Never be too prepared, and never be too sure that anyone that you see every day could be a zombie, because they could zombie out at any given moment. Guys, seriously, I love you so much. Thank you for all the love and support you've shown these videos on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit my like button, and ring my bell to stay up to date with notifications, because you're not going to want to miss a single moment or a single video on this YouTube channel, because it's a whole lot of fun for everybody who ever was a fan of Descendants of Zombies. And I couldn't be more proud to be your host of the official Descendants of Zombies podcast and your voice of Descendants of Zombies. Thank you so much from my heart to yours. Good night, everybody. We will talk again tomorrow morning, bright and early. Until then, stay calm and zombie on into the foreseeable future, guys, because that's the only way to be in this life.